Part 1. The Day the Sky Burned. General Park stood at the window of her apartment in Seoul. The morning sun was bright and warm. She held a cup of tea in her hands and watched the city below. Cars moved through the streets. People walked to their jobs. Children ran to school. It was a normal day, a peaceful day. Her phone rang. It was her daughter. "Mom, are you coming for dinner tonight?" asked. "The kids want to see their grandmother." Smiled, "Of course. I will be there at 7. Tell them that I am bringing their favorite cake." "They will be so happy," said. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too," replied. She ended the call and looked at her watch. It was time to go to work. She was the commander of the United Earth Defense Force. It was a big title, but her job was mostly paperwork now. Earth was at peace. There were no wars. There were no enemies. The biggest problem she faced was budget meetings. Finished her tea and put on her uniform. She looked at herself in the mirror. She was 52 years old. Her hair was gray at the sides. Her face had lines from years of stress, but her eyes were still sharp, still strong. She left her apartment and walked to the military headquarters. The building was only 10 minutes away. She liked the walk. It gave her time to think. She never reached the building. The sky changed color. It went from blue to orange to red in just a few seconds. Stopped walking and looked up. She saw something that made her blood turn cold. Ships, hundreds of ships. They filled the sky like dark clouds. They were massive. Each one was bigger than any building in Seoul. They blocked the sun and cast shadows over the entire city. People on the street stopped and stared. Some took out their phones to record. Some started to run. Nobody knew what was happening. Then the ship spoke. A voice came from everywhere at once. It was deep and cold. It spoke in a language that did not understand, but then it changed to English, to Korean, to every language on Earth at the same time. "People of this planet," the voice said, "we are the Empire. We rule 17 star systems. We have conquered 500 worlds. Today we add your world to our empire. You have 1 hour to surrender. If you do not surrender, you will be destroyed. This is your only warning." The message ended. Silence fell over the city. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the screaming started. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. She needed to get to the command center. She needed to contact her forces. She needed to do something. Her phone rang again. It was the defense minister. "General Park, what is happening?" he shouted. "What are these ships?" "I do not know," said, "but we need to respond. Get me a connection to all military bases, now." "We are trying," the minister said, "but our communications are being blocked. These aliens are jamming everything." Cursed, she looked up at the ships again. They were not moving, they were just waiting, watching. The hour passed slowly. Managed to reach the underground command center. It was deep below the city, protected by thick walls of concrete and steel. Other officers were already there. Their faces were pale with fear. "Do we surrender?" one of them asked. "No," said. "We do not even know what surrender means to them. We do not know if they will keep their word. We fight." "Fight?" another officer said. "With what? Look at those ships. They are beyond anything we have ever seen. Our weapons are toys compared to theirs." Before could answer, the hour ended. The ships opened fire. Light fell from the sky. Not bullets, not missiles, just pure bright light. It hit the ground and everything it touched disappeared. Buildings turned to dust. Streets melted into glass. People vanished in an instant. Watched on the screens as Seoul was destroyed. She watched as her city, her home, was erased from the map. The attack lasted only 3 minutes. When it was over, there was nothing left. Just a crater where millions of people used to live. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it with shaking hands. It was a message it was sent just before the attack. "Mom, there are ships in the sky. I am scared, please come home." Fell to her knees. Her daughter heard they were gone, all of them, gone. Around her, the other officers were crying. Some were screaming. Reports came in from all over the world. Seoul was not the only city. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, 12 cities in total, all destroyed, all gone. 200 million people died in 3 minutes. Stayed on the floor for a long time. Tears fell from her eyes. Her heart was broken. Everything she loved was taken from her. But then something changed inside her. The sadness did not go away, but something else grew next to it, something hot, something dark. Anger. She stood up slowly. She wiped her face. She looked at the screens showing the destruction. She looked at the ships still floating in the sky. The voice spoke again. Your hour has passed. Your cities have been punished. Surrender now or we will continue. This is your final chance. Walked to the communication console. Her officers watched her in silence. She pressed a button and opened a channel. She did not know if the aliens would hear her. She did not care. This is General Park of the United Earth Defense Force, she said. Her voice was calm, cold, steady. You came to our planet without warning. You killed our people without mercy. You think we are weak. You think we will kneel. She paused. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was not. You are wrong. You struck Earth first. Now we are coming for you. Every ship you have, every soldier you send, every world you call home, we will find them, we will reach them, and we will make you pay for what you did today. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. And humanity does not surrender. She ended the transmission. The commander, High Commander, heard the message on his ship. He laughed. His officers laughed with him. They had heard such words before. Every species said the same things before they broke, before they kneeled, before they became slaves. These humans are amusing, said. They have spirit. That will make breaking them more enjoyable. He turned to his officers. Begin the occupation. Land the troops. This world belongs to the Empire now. The soldiers began their descent to Earth. They expected to find broken people ready to serve. They would soon learn that they had made a terrible mistake. In the underground bunker gathered her remaining officers. She looked at their faces. She saw fear. She saw grief. But she also saw something else. She saw the same fire that burned in her own heart. They think this is over, she said. They think we will give up. They do not know us. They do not know what humans can do when we have nothing left to lose. She pointed to the screens. Look at what they took from us. Remember it. Burn it into your minds because we are going to take it back, all of it, and more. The officers nodded. Some wiped their tears. Some clenched their fists. What do we do now? Captain asked. He was a young pilot. His eyes were red from crying, but his jaw was set with determination. Looked at him. Now we survive, we hide, we learn, we prepare, and when we are ready, we strike back. This war has just begun. The day the sky burned was the worst day in human history, but it was also the day that everything changed. The day that humanity stopped looking at the stars with wonder and started looking at them with purpose. The Empire had conquered 500 worlds. They had never lost a war. They were about to lose their first. Part 2. The wolves learned to hunt. 6 months had passed since the attack. The world above was no longer safe. Soldiers walked through the empty streets of every major city. Their ships patrolled the skies day and night. They expected to find humans ready to serve. Instead, they found nothing. The cities were empty. The towns were abandoned. Billions of people had simply vanished. High Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the reports. His 4 eyes narrowed with confusion. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. Where are they? He demanded. Where did they go? We do not know, Commander, his officer replied. They are not in the cities. They are not in the countryside. Our sensors cannot find them. That is impossible, said. A planet cannot hide 8 billion people. But Earth had done exactly that. Deep underground, in tunnels and bunkers built over decades, humanity was waiting. General Park had activated every secret facility on the planet: old military bases, abandoned mines, subway systems, natural caves, anywhere that was deep enough to hide from sensors. The aliens had better technology, they had stronger weapons, they had bigger ships, but they did not know the Earth, they did not know its secrets, and that was humanity's first advantage. Stood in the main command center, 2 kilometers below the mountains of Korea. Around her, hundreds of officers worked at their stations. Screens showed information from all over the world. Resistance cells were forming, supplies were being moved, plans were being made. Report said. Lieutenant stepped forward. He was young, only 28 years old, but his mind was sharp like a knife. Before the invasion, he had worked in intelligence. Now he was the leader of all human spy operations. "They are confused," he said. "They expected us to surrender. They expected to find slaves waiting for them. Instead, they find empty buildings and silence. Their patrols are becoming more aggressive. They are searching for us." "Let them search," said. "They will not find us. Not yet. What about their technology? Have we learned anything?" Doctor spoke next. She was 41 years old, with tired eyes and messy hair. She had not slept more than 4 hours a night since the invasion. She was the head of the Artemis Research Division, the team trying to understand technology. "We have made progress," said. "We captured a damaged scout ship last week. It was shot down by a surface-to-air missile in South America. The pilot survived. We are asking him questions." "And what have you learned?" asked. Smiled. It was the first time he'd seen her smile in months. "Everything," said. "General, they have a weakness, a big one." She walked to a screen and pulled up images of ships and weapons. "Their shields are very advanced," she explained. "They can stop any energy weapon. Lasers, plasma, particle beams. Nothing can get through. This is why they have conquered so many worlds. Every species they fought used energy weapons. It is the standard technology in the galaxy." Bud asked. "But their shields are not designed for kinetic weapons," said. "Physical objects, bullets, missiles, metal traveling at high speed. These things pass through their shields like they are not there." The room went quiet. Every officer stared at with wide eyes. "Are you saying," said slowly, "that our guns can hurt them?" "Yes," said. "Our guns, our missiles, our bombs, all the weapons that the galaxy considers primitive and outdated. The never developed defenses against them because no species ever used them. Everyone moved to energy weapons thousands of years ago." Laughed. It was a short, hard laugh. "They came to our planet with the most advanced technology in the galaxy, and they can be killed by a rifle." "Not just killed," said. "Destroyed. I have done the calculations. A simple, enhanced with their own power cores, could punch through their strongest warship. They are completely vulnerable." Turned to her officers. "Begin production immediately. Every factory we have, every forge, every workshop. I want guns. I want missiles. Give me weapons that will make these aliens bleed." The orders went out that night. In hidden factories all over the world, humans began to build. They worked in shifts, 24 hours a day. They melted down old cars and buildings for metal. They used power cores to make their weapons stronger. They prepared for war. 3 months later, they were ready for their first strike. Lieutenant had found a target, a supply base in what used to be Germany. It was guarded by 200 soldiers and protected by energy shields. The thought it was safe. Captain led the attack. He and 50 pilots flew low through the mountains, staying below sensors. Their planes were old, modified jets from before the invasion, but they carried new weapons, missiles with enhanced warheads. "All units," this is, said into his radio. "Remember what they took from us. Remember the cities. Remember the people. Today we take something back. Attack formation. Fire at will." The missiles launched. They flew straight toward the base. The shields flickered on, expecting energy beams. The missiles passed through like the shields were made of air. The explosions were massive. Buildings collapsed. Ships exploded. Soldiers screamed as fire consumed them. In less than 10 minutes, the entire base was destroyed. Captain flew over the burning ruins. He looked down at the destruction and felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. Command, this is, he said. Target destroyed, all missiles hit. I repeat, all missiles hit. The weapons work. In the underground bunker received the news. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. They had won their first battle. It was small. It was just a supply base. But it was a victory. Send the report to all resistance cells, she ordered. Let everyone know. We can fight them. We can hurt them. We can win. The news spread like fire. In bunkers and tunnels all over the world, humans heard that they could be killed. They heard that the aliens were not gods. They were not invincible. They were just another enemy. And humanity knew how to fight enemies. High Commander received the report of the attack with disbelief. He watched the footage again and again. His soldiers, his ships, destroyed by primitive weapons. How is this possible? He demanded. How did they do this? We do not know, Commander, his officer said. Their weapons should not be able to penetrate our shields, but they did. We have no explanation. Slammed his fist on the console. Find them. Find wherever they are hiding and burn them out. I want this planet under control. Now. But his soldiers could not find the humans. Every time they searched a location, it was empty. Every time they thought they found a hideout, it was a trap. The humans struck and vanished. They hit and ran. They killed and disappeared. Commander led the naval resistance from a base deep in the Pacific Ocean. Her ships were submarines, hidden in the underwater trenches. They could not find them. Their sensors did not work well underwater. We are ghosts, told her crew. They cannot see us, they cannot catch us, but we can see them, and we will make them fear the water. Her submarines sank 3 transport ships in 1 week. The aliens learned to avoid the oceans. Lieutenant built a spy network across the planet. He turned captured soldiers into sources of information. He intercepted their communications. He learned their plans before they could act. Knowledge is the greatest weapon, he told his team. They have ships, they have soldiers, but we have secrets, and secrets can bring down empires. Doctor continued her research. She took apart every piece of technology she could find. She learned how their engines worked, how their weapons fired, how their ships flew, and she began to build. One day, she said to General, we will have ships of our own, ships that can leave this planet, ships that can carry the war to their doorstep. Nodded, how long? Give me a year, said. 1 year and I will give you a fleet. Put her hand on shoulder. You have your year, Doctor, make it count. 6 months after the invasion, humanity was no longer just surviving. It was learning. It was growing. It was becoming something new. The wolves had learned to hunt. And soon they would hunt their way to the stars. Part 3, Blood in the Void. 1 year had passed since the day the sky burned. 1 year of hiding. 1 year of fighting. 1 year of building. And now humanity was ready to take the next step. Deep in a mountain in South America, in a cave large enough to hold a city, the first human starship waited. Doctor stood before it, her eyes filled with pride. She had worked every day and every night for 12 months. She had not seen sunlight in half a year, but it was worth it. The ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It was built from steel and salvage technology. It was 300 meters long. Its hull was thick with armor. Its weapons were visible along its sides. Hundreds of missile tubes. It was not elegant like ships. It was rough and brutal. It looked like what it was, a weapon of war. General Park walked slowly around the ship. Her eyes moved across every detail, every gun, every panel, every mark of human effort. Does it have a name? She asked. The crew voted, said, "They call it the Vengeance." Nodded, "A good name. When can it fly?" "It is ready now," said. "We have tested everything. The engines work, the weapons work, the shields. Well, we do not have shields, but we have something better." "What?" Smiled. "Armor, thick steel plates. They use energy weapons, remember. Their lasers are designed to overload shields. Against solid metal, they are much weaker. It will take them dozens of hits to burn through our hull, and by then our will have torn them apart." Looked at the ship one more time. Then she turned to face the hundreds of officers and soldiers gathered in the cave. "Today," she said, "we stop hiding. Today we take back our sky. They have an orbital station above our planet. It is their command center, their eyes, their ears. As long as it exists, they control everything that comes and goes from Earth, so we are going to destroy it." The soldiers cheered. They had been waiting for this moment, waiting for a chance to truly fight back. Captain stepped forward. He was 35 now. The year of war had changed him. His face was harder. His eyes were colder, but his spirit was still burning. "I will lead the fighter attack," he said. "My pilots are ready. We have been training for this." Nodded. "You will launch first. Draw their attention. Keep their ships busy. The Vengeance will come behind you and hit the station directly." She looked around at her people. "This will not be easy. Many of us will die today. But if we win, if we take that station, we break their control over Earth. We prove that we can fight them in space. We show the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered." The preparations took 3 more hours. Pilots checked their ships. Gunners loaded their weapons. Engineers ran final tests on every system. Then, as the sun set on the other side of the planet, the attack began. 50 human fighters launched from hidden bases around the world. They flew straight up, through the clouds, through the atmosphere, into the darkness of space. The sensors detected them immediately. High Commander watched from his flagship as the small human ships approached. He laughed. "They are brave," he said, "but stupid. Those ships are nothing against our fleet. Destroy them." 30 interceptors moved to engage. They were faster than the human fighters. They had better weapons. They had better shields. They should have won easily. But the humans were not fighting the way they expected. Captain and his pilots flew in tight formation. They moved unpredictably, changing direction every few seconds. The targeting systems, designed for enemies who flew in straight lines, could not lock on. "Fire missiles," ordered. Hundreds of missiles launched from the human fighters. They spread out in all directions, filling space with metal and fire. The shields flickered on, expecting energy weapons. The missiles flew right through. 12 interceptors exploded in the first wave. The others broke formation, confused and scared. They had never faced weapons like this before. "All fighters engage," shouted. "Show them what humans can do." The battle became chaos. Human and ships twisted and turned through the darkness. Missiles and lasers flew in every direction. Ships exploded. Pilots died. But the humans were winning. Then the Vengeance arrived. The great ship rose from Earth like a metal giant. Its engines burned bright against the darkness. Its guns pointed forward. Its crew was ready. On the bridge, General stood at the center. She watched the battle on the screens. She saw her pilots fighting and dying. She felt the weight of command pressing on her shoulders. "Status of the orbital station?" she asked. "In range," the weapons officer reported. "All locked on target." "Fire." The Vengeance shook as its weapons activated. Dozens of metal slugs flew through space at incredible speed. They crossed the distance to the station in seconds. They hit the shields and passed through. The slugs tore into the station like bullets through paper. Explosions ripped across its surface. Sections of the station broke apart and fell toward Earth. Soldiers inside died by the hundreds. Watched in horror as his station was destroyed. His command center, his symbol of control, gone. "All ships target that warship," he screamed. Destroy it now." The fleet turned toward the Vengeance. 15 warships, all of them larger than the human vessel, all of them armed with powerful lasers. They opened fire. Green beams of light struck the Vengeance. Its armor glowed red from the heat. The crew inside felt the ship shake, but the armor held. Its design worked. "Return fire," ordered calmly. "All weapons, every target." The Vengeance became a storm of metal, fired in every direction. Missiles launched from every tube. The ships, so confident in their shields, found themselves being torn apart. Captain saw a warship targeting the Vengeance. Its weapons were charging for a massive blast. If it hit, it might break through the armor. "No," whispered. He turned his fighter toward the warship. "What are you doing?" another pilot asked through the radio. "Protecting our ship," replied. "Get clear." He flew straight at the warship. His missiles were gone. His guns were almost empty, but his ship still had one weapon left. Itself. Aimed for the main gun port of the warship, he pushed his engines to maximum. At the last second, he ejected from his cockpit. His seat flew backward, away from the ship. His fighter crashed into the warship. The explosion was huge. The entire front section of the warship was destroyed. Its main gun exploded, setting off a chain reaction. The whole ship broke apart. Floated in space, watching through his helmet as the warship died. His body hurt. His seat was damaged, but he was alive. "This is," he said weakly into his radio. "Target destroyed. Someone pick me up. It is very cold out here." A human rescue shuttle found him 20 minutes later. By then, the battle was over. The orbital station was destroyed. 8 of their warships were gone. The rest had retreated. For the first time in their history, the Empire had lost a space battle. General looked at the wreckage floating around Earth. She thought about the pilots who died, the soldiers who gave their lives, the cost of this victory. "Get me a channel to the flagship," she said. His face appeared on the screen. He looked different now. The confidence was gone. In its place was something new, something recognized. "Fear." "You have fought well," said, "but this changes nothing. The Empire has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. You have won one battle, you cannot win the war." Smiled. It was not a warm smile. "Perhaps, but now we know something important. We know that you can be beaten. We know that your shields do not protect you. We know that your empire is not as strong as you believe." She leaned forward. "And now we know where your is. Your pilot told us everything before he died. We know the path through your space. We know how to reach you." His face went pale. "You cannot," he whispered. "You do not have the ships, the resources, the ability." "Not yet," agreed. "But we will. It took us 1 year to build this ship. Give us another year and we will have 10 more. Give us 5 years and we will have a fleet. And when we are ready, we are coming for you, for your colonies, for your empire, for your throne." She ended the transmission. Around her, the crew of the Vengeance was quiet. They had just heard their commander declare war on an empire that spanned 17 star systems. It was insane. It was impossible. But they believed her anyway. Because they were human, and humans did not know how to quit. Part 4: The Empire Bleeds. 2 years had passed since the invasion. Earth was free. The soldiers were gone, killed, or captured in the months after the orbital station fell. The cities were still ruins. The scars were still fresh. But humanity had survived. And now humanity was ready to fight. General Park stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. Around her, through the windows, she could see the human fleet. 123 warships, big and small, fast and slow. Each one built with human hands and technology. Each one crewed by people who had lost everything and wanted revenge. Doctor had kept her promise. She had given them a fleet. "General," Lieutenant said, "all ships report ready. The jump coordinates are locked. We can leave whenever you give the order." Nodded, she looked at the blue sphere of Earth below. She thought about the millions who died, the cities that burned, the families that were destroyed. Her family. Open a channel to all ships, she said. The communication officer pressed a button. Channel open, General. Took a breath. This is General Park to all vessels. Today we leave our home. We leave the planet that we fought and died to protect. But we do not leave to run. We do not leave to hide. We leave to bring the war to those who started it. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Empire thinks we are finished. They think the loss of one fleet will make us afraid. They are wrong. We are not afraid. We are angry. And today, we show them what happens when you make humanity angry. She raised her hand. All ships engage jump drives. Target, frontier space. Let us remind the galaxy why humanity should never be underestimated. The fleet moved as one. Space bent around them. Light stretched into lines. And then they were gone, racing across the stars toward enemy territory. The jump took 3 hours. When they arrived, they found themselves at the edge of a colony system. 3 planets circled a yellow sun. The largest planet had cities on its surface. Ships moved between the worlds. It was a peaceful system, a quiet system. That was about to change. Scan the system, ordered. Find their military targets. The sensors worked quickly. I detect a military station in orbit around the second planet, 24 warships, ground forces on the main colony, estimated population, 200 million. Nodded, the military targets only, no civilians. I want that station destroyed and those ships eliminated, but the cities are off limits. We are not them. We do not kill innocent people. The fleet moved into attack formation. The warships scrambled to respond, but they were too slow, too surprised. They never expected to be attacked in their own space. The battle was short and brutal. Human tore through shields. Human missiles blew apart ships. The military station tried to fight back, but it was surrounded. It was destroyed in less than an hour. On the main planet, the civilians watched in terror as their protectors died. They expected the human ships to turn on them next, to bombard their cities, to kill them the way they had killed humans. Instead, a message came through on all channels. People of this world, General's voice said, we are not here to hurt you. We are here to send a message to your empire. Your leaders attacked our planet. They killed our people. They thought we would surrender. They were wrong. She paused. We could destroy your cities. We could kill millions of you. We have the power, but we choose not to because we are not monsters. We are not conquerors. We are warriors, and warriors fight soldiers, not children. The message ended. The human fleet stayed in orbit for 1 hour. They did not fire on the planet. They did not land troops. They simply waited, letting every on the surface see them, remember them, fear them. Then they jumped away, leaving behind only wreckage and a terrified population. News of the attack spread across the empire like wildfire. For the first time in 2,000 years, a system had been attacked by an enemy. The civilians were not hurt, but that almost made it worse. It showed that the humans could have killed them. They chose not to. It was a show of power and mercy at the same time. And it was only the beginning. Over the next 6 months, the human fleet struck again and again. Military bases, supply stations, patrol fleets. Anywhere the military was gathered, the humans appeared and destroyed them. Sergeant led the ground forces. He was 31 years old, a soldier who had fought in the resistance since the first day. His unit was known for being fearless. They would land on planets, destroy military targets, and leave before they could respond. On one mission, his team found something unexpected, a prison camp. Inside were hundreds of aliens, not other species that had been conquered by the Empire long ago. "Who are you?" asked one of the prisoners. It was a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms. "We are the creature said. "The Empire conquered our world 300 years ago. We have been slaves ever since. Looked at the other prisoners. There were dozens of different species, all of them wearing chains, all of them thin and weak from years of hard work. Not anymore, said he. Turned to his soldiers. Break the chains, free them all. The prisoners could not believe it. Some of them cried. Some of them fell to their knees. One of them, an old creature with gray fur, grabbed his hand. Why, the old one asked, why do you help us? What do you want from us? Thought about the question. He thought about Earth, about the cities that burned, about the people who died. Because someone should have helped us, he said, and no one did. We will not make that mistake. If you want to fight the Empire, you can fight with us. If you want to go home, we will help you get there. But you are no longer slaves. You are free. The news of the liberation spread even faster than the news of the attacks. Species across the Empire heard that the humans were freeing prisoners. They heard that the humans were fighting and winning. They heard that, for the first time in centuries, someone was standing up to their conquerors. Ambassador Song was a former diplomat. Before the invasion, she had worked at the United Nations. Now she had a more important job. She traveled with the fleet, meeting with representatives of conquered species, building alliances, creating a coalition. The Empire is strong, she told a group of leaders. But they are not as strong as they seem. They have conquered hundreds of worlds, but they have also made hundreds of enemies. If we work together, if we unite, we can bring them down. You ask us to risk everything, one of them said. If we fail, the Empire will destroy us completely. Nodded, yes, they might, but you have been slaves for 300 years. Your children are slaves. You will be slaves. Is that the future you want? Or do you want something better? They looked at each other. They remembered the chains, the camps, the centuries of suffering. We will fight with you, they said. One by one, species joined the coalition. The dozens of species, all victims of conquest, all ready to take their revenge. The emperor sat on his throne and listened to the reports. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. How is this possible? He demanded. We are the greatest empire in the galaxy. We have never lost a war, and now these primitives are destroying us. His advisors had no answer. The humans were unpredictable. They did not fight like other species. They did not care about their own lives. They threw themselves into battle with a fury that they could not match. One admiral spoke carefully. Your Majesty, perhaps we should negotiate, offer them peace, give them back their planet and promise to leave them alone. The emperor stared at him. Negotiate with insects. Never, we are the Empire, we do not negotiate with lesser beings. But Your Majesty, if we continue to lose, then we will send more ships, the emperor screamed. More soldiers, more weapons, I do not care how many it takes. I want these humans destroyed, all of them, every last one, do you understand? The admiral bowed, yes, Your Majesty. But as he left the throne room, he wondered if it was already too late. The humans were not just fighting a war. They were starting a revolution. And revolutions, once started, were very hard to stop. In her quarters on the Vengeance, General received reports from across the Empire. Victories, allies, progress, everything was going according to plan. But she did not celebrate. She looked at a small picture on her desk. Her daughter, the family she had lost. I promised you, she whispered. I promised I would make them pay. We are almost there, just a little longer. She put the picture away and returned to work. There was still a war to win, and she would not rest until it was over. Part 5. The Gates of the Empire. 3 years had passed since the first attack on Earth. 3 years of war. 3 years of blood and fire. 3 years of humanity proving that it would never surrender. Now the end was in sight. General Park stood in the war room of the Vengeance. Around her were the leaders of the United Human Fleet and their allies. Captain, still limping from his injuries but still fighting. Lieutenant, whose spy network now reached into the heart of the Empire. Doctor, who had built weapons the galaxy had never seen. Commander, whose naval tactics had won dozens of battles. Sergeant, whose ground forces had liberated hundreds of worlds. And Ambassador Song, who had turned enemies into friends. They were tired, but they were still standing. "This is it," said, pointing to a holographic map. "The home system, 5 planets. Their capital city is on the 3rd planet. That is where the Emperor lives. That is where we end this war. The defenses will be the strongest we have ever faced," said. 300 warships guard the system. The planet itself has ground-based weapons that can destroy ships in orbit, and the Imperial Guard is stationed there. 10,000 of their best soldiers. "We have faced bad odds before," said. "We always win." "This is different," replied. "This is their home. They will fight to the death, every ship, every soldier, every citizen. They know that if they lose here, they lose everything." Nodded. "Yes, they will fight hard, but so will we. We have come too far to stop now. Too many people have died. Too much has been sacrificed. We end this war here. We end it now." She looked around the room. "What is the status of our forces?" Stepped forward. "The fleet is at full strength. 237 warships. Our allies have provided another 150 ships. That gives us a total of nearly 400 vessels. They have never faced a force this large." "It is still not enough to win through strength alone," said. "We need a plan, a way to break through their defenses without losing half our fleet." Smiled. It was a small smile, cold and hard. "I have a plan. Tell them what you found." Activated a new hologram. It showed the capital planet and its orbital defenses. 6 months ago, my agents captured an engineer," he said. "He worked on the planetary shield system. After much conversation, he told us something interesting. The shields that protect the planet are powered by 3 generators on the surface. If even one generator is destroyed, the shields will fall. Getting to the surface is the problem," said. "How do we land troops when the sky is full of enemy ships?" "We do not land troops," said. "Not at first. Captain will lead the main fleet in a direct attack. He will engage the warships and draw their attention. While they are fighting, a small team will slip through on a stealth ship." "A stealth ship?" asked. "We do not have stealth ships." Smiled. "We did not have starships 3 years ago. Now we have hundreds. The stealth ship is new. I call it the Ghost. It uses a combination of human technology and captured systems. It cannot be seen. It cannot be heard. It is invisible." She pulled up an image of the ship. It was small, sleek, and black. It looked like a shadow with wings. "The Ghost will carry a team to the surface," continued. "They will destroy the shield generators. Once the shields are down, the fleet will move in and bombard the military targets. Without their defenses, they will have to surrender." "Or fight to the death," said quietly. "That is their choice," replied. "We offer them the chance to surrender. What they do with that chance is up to them." The planning took another week. Every detail was checked. Every backup plan was prepared. The entire coalition knew what was at stake. This was the final battle. Win or lose, the war would end here. On the day of the attack, General addressed the fleet one last time. "Soldiers of humanity, warriors of the coalition, today we face our greatest challenge. Today we attack the heart of the empire that tried to destroy us. Many of us will not survive. Many of us will die in the darkness between stars, but our sacrifice will not be wasted." She paused, her voice growing stronger. 3 years ago, I stood in a bunker and watched my world burn. I watched my family die. I made a promise that day, a promise that we would fight, a promise that we would never surrender, a promise that we would make them pay for what they did." Her eyes swept across the fleet. "Today we keep that promise. Today we remind the galaxy why humanity should never be underestimated. Today we end this war, for Earth, for our fallen, for the future." She raised her fist. "Attack!" The fleet jumped to the home system. The battle began instantly. 300 warships moved to engage. Lasers and missiles filled the void. Ships exploded on both sides. The darkness of space became bright with fire. Captain flew his new ship, the Phoenix, at the front of the battle. His pilots followed him like a flock of deadly birds. They cut through formations. They destroyed enemy ships. They drew the attention of the entire fleet. "Keep them busy," ordered from the Vengeance. "Do not let them see the ghost." The stealth ship slipped through the battle undetected. Sargent was on board with his best soldiers. They had trained for months for this mission. They knew what they had to do. "We are through the battle," the pilot reported. "Approaching the planet. I can see the shield generators, 3 targets, 2 kilometers apart." "Drop us at the first one," said. "We will move fast." The ghost descended through the atmosphere. It landed in a forest near the first generator, and his team moved out, their weapons ready. The generator was huge, a tower of metal and energy humming with power. Soldiers guarded it, but they were not expecting an attack. Not here, not on there. And his team hit them hard and fast. Bullets tore through armor. Grenades exploded. In minutes, the guards were dead. "Set the charges," ordered. His soldiers placed explosives on the generator's base. They ran back to a safe distance. The explosion was massive. The generator collapsed in a shower of sparks and fire. Alarms began to sound across the planet. "One down," reported, moving to the second target. In orbit, the battle was turning against their ships were falling. Their defenses were crumbling, but they fought with desperate fury. They knew what would happen if they lost. A dreadnought broke through the human lines. It was the largest ship in their fleet. It headed straight for the Vengeance. "All weapons target that ship," commanded. The Vengeance fired everything it had. Missiles, every weapon on the ship. The dreadnought shook under the assault, but it kept coming. Its main gun charged, glowing with deadly energy. Captain saw what was happening. He turned his ship toward the dreadnought. "No," someone shouted on the radio. "Not again." "I will not lose her," replied. He pushed his engines to maximum. The Phoenix screamed through space, missiles launching from every tube. The missiles hit the dreadnought just as its main gun fired. The blast went wide, missing the Vengeance by meters. The dreadnought's engines exploded. The massive ship began to fall apart. But the explosion caught the Phoenix. Ship tumbled through space, damaged and burning. Shouted, "Respond, are you alive?" Silence, then a weak voice. "I am still here. Ship is damaged. I am going down." "We will get you," said. "Just hold on." On the planet's team destroyed the second generator. The planetary shields flickered. They knew what was happening now. They sent hundreds of soldiers to protect the third generator. "We have company," one of soldiers said. "A lot of company." Looked at the approaching enemy force. Then he looked at his team, 12 soldiers against hundreds. "We only need to get close enough to plant the charges," he said. "We do not need to survive. We just need to win." His soldiers nodded. They understood. Some of them would die, maybe all of them, but the mission would succeed. "For Earth," said. "For Earth," his soldiers replied. They charged,